Hello, Bunny Buddies. Welcome to a little session where I show you something that was on my mind. I just wanted to quickly show you something while I was working involving cell shading, not painting. Normally you always see me painting, so this time I wanted to do some cell shaded stuff. Cell shaded just refers to when colors are flat and the shading is added in a flat way. So if you think of any animation, any anime, cartoon, they do the shadows and everything in that style, in flat colors. Like you see here when I'm adding some shadow on this character's hat, I am simply doing it with the bold 100% opacity color. I'm doing it with a sharp edge in between. It saves a lot of time, can have a really cool effect, and does work a bit different than obviously painting that I usually do. I wanted to show that it makes things really important how you what shapes you're using, because the lines are so crisp in between each shade of color. If you look here underneath the character's ear that I'm circling around, make sure you see that good. I could be having this purple that's on his jacket be a shadow like this under the ear, but I want her ear to show up better, so I'm having his shadows. While it does make sense, you know, when something's covering another object there would be a shadow, so you'd think, oh, I should put shadow like that, but from far away that's going to create a really big blob and it's going to be harder to see her ear. So sometimes you want to cheat and leave some of the part of his jacket brighter. That way her ear shows up a little easier. There's lots of little tricks like that where it creates, you know, emphasis. I mentioned that in some other videos where emphasis is really your biggest goal in art. I should say, like, creating the effect that you want. That's more of what I mean. Obviously everybody has their own reasons for doing things, but it's the goal you have in mind, and there are different ways to achieve that. And one of those is controlling how people look at the picture. Sorry. Anyway, another quick thing that I do a lot, even with cell shading, that's still technically similar. You can use this in painting. I use it more in painting, but it applies here too, is taking the color, the darker color that I used for her ear. Say I used too dark of a color, like if I were trying to figure out what color I wanted and I used that, whereas I actually want her ear to be like the darker marks to be dark, to be lighter. I want that dark mark to not be as dark. So I'll take her light colored fur, I'll lower the opacity, and then color over it like that, until I get this shade that I do want, which is this new one. I'll then use the color picker again, select that new blend, press Ctrl Z to undo what I just did, then crank up the opacity back to 100, and now I still have that new blended color selected. So now I can color with that new blended color, and you get that. And so actively, while I work, if I'm trying to figure out what colors look right, instead of constantly moving over to the color palette there, I'll just pick one color, shade a little bit, and continue mixing back and forth and go, wait, do I want it a little darker? And blend for a little bit like you see me do with painting until I get the shade I want, select it, then go to 100, and I can put on the non-blended sharp effect that I was trying to do before. That's just a little thing that I think is really useful, and I use that so often when trying to figure out what colors look right together. So I wanted to show you that and show you some of the contrast. Same thing with the background when it came to contrast, and I do a little more of it. I'm using one of the brushes that is default. They call it crayon plastic, where I'm taking a light color like the background has and specifically getting brighter and brighter as I get behind the characters themselves. As you see, I'm slowly doing it only where they are, especially around their faces, because I want your eye to look there first. When I make it really bright like that, your eye immediately is drawn to the characters, even from far away. So there's lots of little ways to trick the audience's eye to look where you want and to see the effect you want. So I wanted to show you that while it's still on my mind and while I'm still working. So let me know how this video went. If these tips helped you, or if there are any other tips you want to see in the future, let me know, because that lets me know what to focus on in future videos. So that's it for this video. My name is PenMark, and thanks for watching, Bunny Buddies. See you next time.